Filmmaker Brian Weimer believes you should dream big, and that's the mission behind his latest project in downtown Charlottesville. Join us today as we visit the Ix Art Park, an interactive space where the community can come together anytime to enjoy and experience the arts. Come on! So Brian, what happens here at the Ix Art Park?
I think you dream in an art park. It's rare that you find a place in your life when you're not working, you can perhaps even turn off your cell phone, when you can kind of sit and enjoy. And that's what this is trying to add to people's lives, or give them a place to do it. And not only just be in a place, but to do something there. People always want to do something. It's hard to kind of sit still in our modern culture. So what do you want to do? I don't know, it's to indulge kind of all of your senses. That's what we thought about a lot here was, what does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Because I think that life, you have to indulge all those dimensions.
Well, when you say we, I know you call yourself the primary instigator in life. And then who else is helping to create the park?
So Ludwig Kuttner is sort of helping make all this happen. He's one of the primary owners of the Ix property. The other people are Susan Krischel, who has been instrumental in helping pull this all together. She comes from a background at FIT in New York, as well as a legal profession. Troy Bowles helps keep all of the grounds and everything happening smoothly. Actually, the whole artist community, we've talked to Dave Brzezinski from McGuffey about how to tie all these artistic worlds together.
So you come from a background, well, actually, you come from a corporate marketing background to a filmmaking background, but now you've taken on this park project. You spearheaded it. Why?
I think I had to save my soul.
Well, that's big.
If this saves
How's
my
that
soul,
working for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't called in yet. I did a lot of marketing work in New York, and I feel kind of not so great about it. I did Taco Bell Chihuahua ads. I did work for lots of financial institutions. I've done work for pharmaceutical companies. But this is an opportunity to put all of that effort, all those hours, those late nights, into something that doesn't make people dissatisfied with their lives, that doesn't breed discontent, because that's what I think marketing does best. It breeds discontent. Makes you feel lousy about yourself, and then this chocolate cake or this car or whatever is going to fill that void in your life.
Right.
Here, let's turn that around. Let's try to breed contentment. Wow, that's a weird thing, contentment. And it's funny, we're sitting in here.
Yeah.
I feel relaxed.
Yeah, it feels nice.
There's grass here, there's shade, there's something organic, there's something creative, and then there are other people here. And you can have a conversation, and you feel relaxed, and you let your guard down. And all of a sudden, you're not behaving defensively. You're playing what I like to call in improv, yes and. Where you say, hey, let's do this. And I go, yeah, let's do that. And let's do this. You don't negate it. You don't say, nah, here are 10 reasons why we can't do that.
Right.
This is about possibility.
Right.
This is about what we can do. And if I told you a year ago that I had this idea, whatever, and all of a sudden it's here, you'd say, no way. Well, it happened.
So let's talk about it. Let's talk about some of the events and activities and pieces of art that are happening here, that have been and are happening now.
One of my favorite pieces is a hexagon that has swings in it. I saw it in a picture somewhere. I said, let's build that. And so I got the stuff from Lowe's and about $1,000 worth of materials, and we built it. And the day it was built, there were people sitting in it who hadn't ever seen each other. Because you can't help not look at each other within this setting, and you have a context for what to talk about.
Right.
Look at this. This is unusual. Hey. And then you have this to talk about because it's a shared experience that's unusual and different and begs discussion. Because, like you say, what is an art park? They're trying to define it themselves.
Yeah.
And contentment is what you're striving for. So for me, you build a piece how it makes people behave, start to interact differently. They've removed who they are, where they came from. They've quit all that. And now you get to be somebody else here. You don't have to wear a costume, you don't have to put on a funny accent. Just start to reimagine what your life could be. And if this is a place that people start to take apart all those facades of their life for an hour, for a day, for a week, for the rest of their lives, I think that art is not transient. I think that art is permanent and eternal and is the essence of what we're striving for.
Well, and we have behind us the Before I Die wall. So
Right.
everybody wrote what they wanted to do before they
Right.
died. We've got the beautiful graffiti wall and Pollock's Path. Talk about that.
Pollock's Path was such a gift. I hadn't anticipated that. A guy, Devin Floyd, he works at Monticello, he brought this idea of a forest meadow that would have been here 500 years ago. Essentially, there's a stream bed that runs underneath the whole
Right.
property on a pipeline,
Right.
and it daylights over on Elliott, but it goes in a serpentine path through. That's what it would have done until it got buried. So let's look at that and let's make a mural where that serpentine path would have followed. And then let's make a boardwalk. And then on the grass part, let's surround it by native plantings that would have been here literally 500 years ago. Not just native plantings, but specific to Charlottesville, specific to a stream bed. And what I love within that possibility, that impossibility, is what is a 500-year-old forest meadow doing in the middle of an industrial park? What better place for it?
Right. And who is the park for?
The park's for everybody.
Everybody.
I mean, it's a free park. It is for the people who live around here, 6th Street Apartments, Crescent
Right.
Hall, Friendship Court. It's for people in all neighborhoods. It's for people in all states. I mean, that was one notion, is this park for Charlottesville? Is it for the state? Is it for the country? Is it for the world? I say go for the world.
Okay.
Why not? I mean, part of the motto here is dream big.
Right.
Dream that you were swimming in cake, if that's where you want to go. But why do we limit ourselves to baby steps? Why do we say, oh, well, when we have the funding or when we have the time? I say, let's do it now. Because sort of like this Before I Die wall, why would that one of my favorite pieces on that is we did this Before I Die stencil. People wrote up all the great things that they wanted to do on their bucket list, and somebody else painted next to it, why wait?
Yeah.
Why wait? Do it
Yeah.
now. Actually, there's a guy, Bob Ross. I don't know if you know who Bob Ross is. He did the Joy of Painting. He was a guy with an afro and a sable brush, and he would paint landscapes. And he was all about like how there were no mistakes, there were just happy accidents.
Oh, right, yeah.
But he believed, and it's funny, he was on PBS, and it wasn't like you thought he was a great artist, but I love the essence. He had this really gentle voice. But the notion was that everyone was an artist, that everybody had it in them. You didn't need a degree, you didn't need special training, just start now. Actually, I sort of have a motto now that you can't get good until you get bad.
Yeah,
So let's
yeah.
start being bad.
Yeah.
Let's do what we can, and then we'll get good, and then we'll get great.
Like the mural with the angels.
Yeah, Chicho Lorenzo. He came and he was going to paint along the side of one of these walls, and instead of saying, oh, I want that whole wall cleaned and prepped and whatever, he said, just leave it. It had rust stains coming down from it because it was drainage from the upper platform. And instead he brought paint that was rust colored. And he played with that and the notion of water coming through. And that's possibility. And that's Chicho not going, I'm waiting for the appropriate moment and whatever. I'm going to start now.
Yeah. And then you had a 5K, was it a 5K rainbow where everybody threw paint all over? I mean, it's all safe.
Yeah. Well, the notion is, how do you get people to interact? And that's one of the challenges here, is to get people to know that this exists and that you have access and permission to come here. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, oh, we go party at Escafé all night and then we come down at about 3 in the morning to the art park. Is that okay? And I'm like, that's not just okay, that's what we want. I saw the other day somebody had a birthday party here. Just set up, have a birthday party. This is a public space. And it's beyond just having a park, because you can also create here, and other people can see that creation and participate in that creation. And even when we were looking for artists and are still looking for artists, part of it is show us a plan. Show us how you're going to complete it. If it looks good and it looks like you can follow through on it, we will fund it and we'll make it happen. So there's even that sort of like notion of dream realization. Wow, all of a sudden, you're an artist.
Yeah.
Actually, you've always been an artist. And so that's what it is here. This is the tools to do anything. This is the space to do anything, because you can be anything. And I know I feel like some weirdo, like motivational speaker. I don't care. I want people to not limit themselves. I don't want culture to limit itself.
So what has the response been so far? What do people think?
People come here and
Yeah.
all I get is I love it.
Yeah.
And brilliant and wonderful. And I don't know, it's not about publicity. It's more about what you can do with what you've got. And that's sort of the key thing with art is a lot of times people think that art is just there for when you have time or when you have the money. But I think art works.
Okay, I can't sit with you
Yeah.
and not ask you, even though this is your big project,
Right.
I can't not ask you about your current film project. Just give us a little sample of what you're working on outside of the park.
Okay, I lead many lives, and one of them is as a filmmaker and as a documentarian. And I have a film called Sugar Daddy.
Okay.
And it's about sugar politics. And it started because my kids were in the public school. Public schools were allowed by the USDA, 35% of the food could be sugar.
Oh, wow.
And we thought that was kind of crazy. So for 8 weeks, I ate the same sugar load as a US adolescent. It's sort of like a supersize me, it was like a sugar size me. And I was followed by 5 doctors, and we documented the whole thing. And it was kind of awful and traumatic. And it really showed to me in a very first person. It's a terrible science experiment. It's just one person, so it's completely anecdotal. But I went pre-diabetic in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I went clinically ADHD. I had insomnia. My ankles inflamed. I couldn't run anymore. Like I just went. People didn't recognize me anymore. And it's kind of funny with people who have young kids, and you're like, wow, I don't even recognize them. It must be hormones, it might be whatever. It could be sugar.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's so pervasive in our lives. And again, it's like this is the marketing piece coming in, because the billions of dollars that the sugar industry makes also creates billions of dollars that the medical industry has to take care of.
Right.
So a lot of this is in reaction to that. That's the creation of a culture that is destructive. This is the creation of a culture that is creative.